Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com. This is Texas Podcast Massacre. With your hosts, Mitch, Nate, and Lisa.
Welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre. I'm your host, Lisa, and joining me as always are my two tormentors, Mitch.
Are those your hands?
And Nate.
Heck of a handshake you got there, Ed. Heck of a handshake.
The look on Nate's face, not knowing that I'm hosting this podcast tonight, was fantastic.
Oh yeah. This is. I am shocked.
I don't know. You're speechless. I can tell.
We're in a brave new world. I don't know what to do with my hands.
You also didn't know what to do with a quote.
I might as well have scissors. I know I haven't done that before. I was like, oh, I'm not prepared for this. I might as well have scissors for hands.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's subtle.
So
love it.
If you haven't noticed, doing something a little different tonight, Lisa's payback after, I don't know, 1 million episodes with these two.
Sounds right.
I will be leading the discussion. This is one of my favorite unsuspecting, victim-friendly horror movies, Edwards Scissorhands. So excited. So let's get right into it. One thing I do kind of want to ask you guys right off the get-go is, we've talked about Edwards Scissorhands before. I'm so excited we're doing it tonight. Is it in any way a special or memorable movie for the two of you? I know I mentioned it was my go-to Halloween movie every year that I would watch it while we were sorting candy, but is it just another movie on the list for you guys, or is there anything special about it?
This is like one of my top 20 movies of all time. So it's very high for me. I love this movie so much.
Nice.
So
do you remember the first time you saw it?
I saw it in the movie theater with my mom.
Oh, really?
Yes. I think I might've been like 4 or 5.
Wow.
Nate, it's very sweet, but your mom has seen so much shit with you.
It started great, apparently. It started awesome.
And then it sounds kind of an asshole. Like, you saw it with your mom. Like, it's not a really jerk.
Don't lie. I know the stuff you made your mom take you to too. Okay,
Blair Witch Project.
She took me to this. And then she also watched last week's movie of the week, Santa Jaws. So she's really running the whole gambit of Christmas movies across multiple decades. Yeah, she's a champ.
Yeah,
Mitch, what about you?
My mom would not have watched any of those. No, I haven't seen this movie since I was little. I didn't remember anything. This, for as much as I love Tim Burton stuff, this never really hit the mark for me. Truthfully, this is just a preamble. This is just a baby step to his magnum opus, Batman Returns. That is a much better Christmas goth dark movie. Has the same sort of themes. The whole thing with the penguin is just totally the exact same rip-off storyline from Edwards Scissorhands. So, but they have penguins with rocket launchers on their backs, so easily better.
That's one way to look at it.
That's the only way, I think.
If you would have asked me who my favorite director was 10 years ago, I would have said Tim Burton in a heartbeat. Early Tim Burton I am obsessed with those. I was obsessed with those movies for a very long time. So yeah, anything in the Tim Burton catalog is early Tim Burton catalog before he started remaking every movie that ever existed. Which we will go through, is awesome. And then once he started remaking everything, I was like, oh no, Tim. All of Tim's teenage storylines and everything that he liked, he's just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to remake Willy Wonka 5 times and make him I don't care anymore. And then it started.
He's But Willy Wonka with Johnny Depp, let's try that.
Everything with Johnny Depp. That's his whole strategy.
How much stock or whatever does Tim Burton own in Johnson's baby powder? Because these are the whitest, palest porcelain people in all of his movies I've ever seen. Like how much does he go? Like, you know, they talk about like the buckets of blood used in some horror movies, like the blood budget. Like famously in Cabin in the Woods, right? They had extra surplus blood, so they're like, oh, let's just use it for this last scene. He's got like he's swimming in baby powder. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he wasn't part of
significant.
I'm surprised he wasn't part of the movie Powder. maybe that was this is a little before that, I guess, but I don't know. Everyone is very pale. It is awesome. It's great.
No,
I love it. Wow. Are we just going to dunk on Mitch this whole time, Lisa? Let's just gang up on Mitch the whole episode.
It's a thing, right?
I'm fine with it.
I love Tim Burton movies. Even some more recent ones. I don't hate, you know, it's
this is too much of a love story for you.
I don't know. Yeah, it just we'll
it's
get
not a
into
love story.
it.
They literally almost can't touch.
We'll
get into it. I know my man likes. Look, it's not. We'll save it. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Anyway, Lisa, this is your show.
So this is great. So this is a great lead into our debate question for tonight, because I have a feeling it's going to be very contentious. So knowing that this is, you know, Tim Burton, Johnny Depp, but who else is in it? Winona Ryder. Okay. And she's been in quite a few of the movies we've done, some that we haven't done. And I read recently, you know, after her turn in Stranger Things, a lot of folks were calling her kind of the queen of horror. You know, she's been doing this for a long time. So my question to you guys is, do you think she's the queen of horror? Do you have a better candidate to lay out there? So Mitch, let's start with you.
Who is calling her the queen of horror? They are lying in your face. No.
That's a stranger quote right there. Who gave that? what happened?
That's what I'm gonna do.
It was me on Reddit.
Right. When I die, I want them to say some people said Mitch was magnanimous. It is like some people. It was me saying those things about myself. I get it. I can see why some people might say that. I would almost say that maybe she is the best horror queen for unsuspecting victims. You know, I think she's in all the creepy, spooky movies that aren't really that scary, but are dark. I mean, look, she's Lydia. So, you know, I mean, look, she's every...
Stop stealing my answer, Mitch.
Oh, sorry. She's every goth...
Who's yours?
Yeah, who's yours? Wow.
So when I was thinking about it, I think I'm between Neve Campbell and obviously Sigourney Weaver and Jamie Lee Curtis. If you made me pick, I would maybe go. I don't know how you don't go Jamie Lee Curtis. I just, as a horror fan, okay. I don't know. I could certainly see the case for Sigourney Weaver, maybe even Neve Campbell for modern, but yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis is. I don't know how you pick again.
You got Terror Train, You're on Train, Prom Night, and the Halloweens. It's not terrible.
Okay. What do you think about the Farmiga sisters? Nate. I mean, Tysa's has a big running on Scream Queens I can't remember if she was on Scream Queens, but she has it on American Horror Story. Her sister is in the Conjuring universe, is a big staple of that.
If I could forget about all Nun and Conjuring movies, I'd be very happy.
Too late. Isn't there another one coming out?
There is.
Of course there is. Of course, and it's going right to HBO Max.
The devil made me do it.
I'm so excited for that one.
Me too.
Nate's like, I'm gonna be out of town.
Yeah. I think there's a Nun 2 coming out too. Supposedly.
I'm not excited for that one.
Yeah, I know. And there's the thin man or whatever.
Not excited for that one.
Denzel
La Llorona. I'm good for the main Conjuring movies. I don't know that I care for any of the offshoots.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not as big a fan.
Yeah.
I would go
So was Amityville horror in that realm?
No. So it is.
They kind of played off
they
played off the supposed real life nonsense.
Well, okay, and this is not your question, Lisa, but I mean, yes, it's part of that world because it centers around those two characters. But James Wan hasn't done that movie.
Oh, I gotcha. So we're talking James Wan.
The Amityville horror is important to the story because they lead into it from the second one. It happens in between the first and the second film.
Right.
It was already remade perfectly with Ryan Reynolds. I mean, what else do you need?
Okay, that's another debate question. So Nate, you're also going Sigourney Weaver?
Sigourney Weaver.
I went Jamie.
Why?
So we went Sigourney.
So Sigourney Weaver is great because she was one of the first people, final girl, quote, quote, to take the fight to the person. So she was kind of the originator of that. Jamie Lee Curtis really never in the original stuff in Halloween, in the remake of Halloween, she had become that kind of person who was like, oh, I'm ready. Right. But in the other ones, she was just like, poor Loomis is shooting people off roofs and getting burned to death in the first two movies. And then, in H2O, she just chopped his head off and he magically comes back and then she dies. And then that was not canon anymore. And then she comes back. After the first two Halloweens, she's really meh on that. Whereas Sigourney Weaver, even in like Alien Resurrection, which with Winona Ryder, by the way, she was still pretty solid and badass. So Sigourney Weaver, more consistent badass output for me.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So she was in a prison colony. Prison colony. She was like she's badass everywhere. Prison colonies, cryospace.
I don't fault you for that answer. It's hard. It's hard to. I mean, I say Jamie Lee Curtis just because I just can't think of a more. I mean, the more iconic killer is Michael Myers more so than I think than Alien. Although it's not like Alien's nothing, right?
Well, hey, look, our first episode in this podcast of all time was in the Alien franchise, so
it's fair. It is. It's a fair point. Let me pitch you this way.
Wait. Can I pitch Ghostbusters as breaking the tie? For Sigourney. If I can pitch that, then I think that's the winner right there.
She literally has the baby that they want. So that's true.
So Lisa, what say you? I mean, it's kind of a leading question. I feel like where do you stand with Winona Ryder?
Oh, I think it's Winona Ryder all the way. I think you hit the nail on the head for me, Mitch. So I cut you off because you were saying exactly what I was going to say. She's the unsuspecting, victim-friendly horror movie queen. I mean, she probably has the most horror movies that I saw as a kid before I got roped into this nonsense with the two of you. So, I mean, saw Beetlejuice a ton of times. I obviously watched Edwards Scissorhands a ton of times, Bram Stoker's Dracula. So she's in so many Heathers, which I watched recently, which is really great. And now she's back in Stranger Things. So I definitely think she does horror well, and she does it with the creepy enough factor, but it doesn't exclude a lot of folks. So to me, she's it. Yeah. For sure. And don't get me wrong, I love Sigourney Weaver and I love Jamie Lee Curtis as well. I think they're fantastic. So it's a hard call. They're all great. They're all really good at what they do.
I would give you this, and y'all can argue with me on this thought. I would almost put Winona Ryder, if I'm being honest, over Sigourney Weaver, and for only one reason.
Oh my God! What is
happening? You just triggered Nate.
Just listen. The blueprint. Think about when they make all these new movies, all these later horror movies come out, right? Jamie Lee Curtis is the blueprint for a slasher, majority of horror film final girls, right? The scared shitless for 3/4 of the movie, then turn to badass. I'm gonna deal with this kind of thing, right?
But Jamie Lee Curtis isn't badass in any of her movies.
But she still sort of sets the blueprint, whether they kind of dip into the Sigourney Weaver side or not. But very rarely do we get just a full-blown badass from the start like Sigourney Weaver was. So Sigourney Weaver is on her own. And maybe that ends up being the counter argument to this.
Yeah,
I would say
say
Winona Ryder though. If you think about modern horror films, I mean, I don't think you have Neve Campbell without Winona Ryder. I don't think. I mean, take The Craft. Take. What's Emma Roberts credits Winona Ryder's early films for what inspires her for all of her Scream Queen.
She is probably the closest to Winona Ryder, Emma Roberts.
Yeah,
I think I would agree with that.
And so there's something about her as a blueprint of like that darker kind of character that's not necessarily that's somewhere in between the between Jamie Lee Curtis and Sigourney Weaver, right? She's dark. Darker. She's not as new to like all the bad things in the world, so she's not like this total innocent when it comes to that. Not quite full badass either. I don't know. I do agree. At least I think there is some merit in having her in that list because I certainly don't think most people talk about. I don't know who said Winona Ryder is the Queen of Horror.
One person.
Never heard that in my life. I've heard she's like the the hot topic queen, but if you shop there, yeah, sure. Her and Sally, are right up there fighting.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Well, good.
All right. Well, you guys decide.
Good to know.
You got Jamie Lee.
If you have one, if you have one, send it to us. Let us know who you think the Queen of Horror is.
I'm just going to say, when it was head to head, Sigourney Weaver versus Winona Ryder in Alien Resurrection, Sigourney Weaver came out on top. So I'm just gonna throw that.
I mean, Sigourney Weaver gets in that giant mechanical robot thing. Now, yes,
Christ,
Winona Ryder wins
you about
the
to
hot
dance
topic.
The robot because if you were,
yeah.
Winona Ryder, though. I mean, what 90s girl wasn't Lydia for Halloween at least once?
I was lit. No, I'm just kidding. It was a good one.
We did Beetlejuice and Lydia for a Halloween once. Lisa.
Yeah, we did.
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and she's still around. I mean, even kicking it with Stranger Things, it's not like.
Yeah.
She's just, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's certainly the queen of spooky, like queen of goth, queen of dark character, like, that kind of stuff.
Look, so Mitch, I guarantee you she's not listening. You don't have to. She knows that you like, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. Winona's not going to call us and be like, Mitch doesn't like me. It's all right.
I just want to make sure.
This is the one episode she listens to.
Don't hate me, Lydia.
Like Johnny Depp, Keanu Reeves, Mitch. Those are the three people I lost.
Right.
What does Jennifer Love Hewitt say about this?
Did you have to bring her into the conversation, really, Nate?
She was so far down in a Scream Queen list. I can't. She's only been in like 2 movies, maybe 3. 2.
I don't know. It's great.
It doesn't matter. She's at the top of Mitch's list.
She's in Criminal Minds for a while, so that was an interesting season. Okay,
so
you got to get through 10. You got to get through 9 seasons before you get to Jennifer Love Hewitt and Criminal Minds. Don't do it. Save yourself the time.
This is the first and last time I host this podcast.
It's nice being free.
I want to jump in to this movie review, even though you kind of can tell where it's going. But before we do this week's movie of the week, I want to mention our partner in horror, Shudder. We're happy to continue our partnership this month. We're going to bring our fans some of the best horror content for the holidays. So as you're deciding what to watch this December, remember Shudder. And I know you guys, jump on there and watch stuff all the time, even when we don't do it for the podcast, which is, surprising to me.
All the time.
Right. Well, I mean, this Friday, Joe Bob's having his Joe Bob Saves Christmas special. I'm super excited. I think it's going to be a charity
Not my
auction
Christmas.
with it. Starts at 8 p.m. Central Time because we're in Texas and everything revolves around Central Time. Yeah, I mean, there's all that. Nate, I mean, you've been watching a bunch of stuff.
I catch up. We have our end of the year episode coming out in a couple of weeks, and I always try to catch up with all of the movies I haven't seen. And Shudder has got tons of good episodes. They even have a content that says best of 2020. It's a whole separate list you can look at. It's got Scare Me. It's got La Llorona, the good one, which is a key distinction. You got Mortuary Collection, which Mitch and I definitely love.
So good.
Tons of
tons
of movies that came out in 2020 in Pettigore. Tons of stuff that you can check out before the end of the year, and you will probably be hearing these on our Best of 2020 episode. So definitely check those out before then.
Absolutely. And of course you can always check it out. I mean, it's available everywhere. I've got it set up on my Xbox. You can watch it on your phone when we try to get little Carrie to sleep whenever she does. I have it on my phone sometimes watching that. It's so much stuff. And normally it's what, $6 a month, I think. I think 55 or something a year. But if you go to shudder.com, SHUDDER, use the promo code TPM. So just like Texas Podcast Massacre, TPM, that will get you 30 days to try it out. You'll get to check out the Joe Bob show and all of his past stuff. So all they're great. There's not a bad Joe Bob episode for sure. You get to check out everything for 30 days at no real risk or cost. So check it out. Tell them we sent you. And with that, Lisa, God, I keep wanting to take it over, but it's all you. It's all you. Sorry. I don't know what to do with myself today.
Stop being so much of an Anthony Michael Hall right now. Jeez, what are you doing here?
Welcome to the other side, Mitch. This is how Nate and I feel every week.
Hard. I don't like it.
With that, let's get into this week's movie of the week, Edwards Scissorhands.
From me, I'm as harmless as cherry pump. Those are your hands. Those are your hands. I think you should just come home with me.
Joyce, I just saw this strange guy driving with Peg.
Did you get a good look at it?
Hi! Scissors.
Whoa! Heck of a handshake you got there, Ed.
Kim, this is Edward, who's gonna live with us.
Well, this must be quite a change for you, right, Ed?
Those things are cool.
Can I bring him to show and tell on Monday?
He's a highly imaginative character. It seems clear that his awareness of what we call reality is radically underdeveloped.
Eddie, you take my very breath away. Do you have a girlfriend?
Is there some special lady in your life?
Doctor skewered Kim.
Just a scratch. The power of Satan is in him. I can feel it.
Drop your weapon!
All along, I felt in my gut there was something wrong with him.
From Tim Burton comes the most incredible tale of a most unusual character. Edwards Scissorhands.
Hold me. I can't.
I love that iconic 90s narrator voice.
And Danny Elfman, just so much Elfman on the.
It's fantastic.
So
90s trailers were either Danny Elfman or what was it? Third Eye Blind. For every teen.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
like Sixpence None the Richer. All those kind of you're grouping into that.
When six friends go down to This guy was gold. It was gold. I was thinking, oh man, it's those three. It's Sixpence None the Richer. It's Danny Elfman, or it's Third Eye Blind.
It's fantastic.
Oh Christ.
So I will say before we get into Nate's facts, it was a lot of fun to watch this movie with Mitch because I have seen this movie way too many times in my life. And Mitch, as he admitted, did not remember a lot of the beats of this movie.
Victim. Love it.
I was the unsuspecting
so
victim.
It was kind of turned around, and I'm sitting here going, "Oh, here comes the devil bush," and Mitch is like, "What the hell are you talking about?" So, It's just a fantastic movie. So Nate, what facts? What trivia?
Yeah, Edwards Scissorhands, 105 minutes. Came out next week, 30 years ago, December 14th, 1990. We are old. Rating PG-13. It's a PG-13. Bring the kids.
What was that drive-by, Nate? Jesus.
At least he said we.
If you guys are Richie Rich and have the Stars streaming platform, you can watch this. I own the Blu-ray. This is a Blu-ray collection for me. This time I decided to watch the director commentary with Tim Burton. They also have a director commentary with Danny Elfman, which is freaking amazing. Also,
Nate, I may need to borrow that Blu-ray.
Yes, I think you should. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
No tagline for this one because this movie doesn't need it because it's so good. Budget for this $20 million, made 86 in the box office. Apparently, I was a very young child and had a ticket as well, so I was part of that. Man, we got Tim Burton. Tim Burton is, I mean, his early films, his run of early films is just astounding. First feature film he did was Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which he did with Danny Elfman. Probably the greatest bicycle trick in the history of cinema. Still ramping over the house, unbeatable. Then he did Beetlejuice, then Batman, then Edwards Scissorhands, then Batman Returns, then Ed Wood, then Mars Attacks, then Sleepy Hollow. That gets you from 85 to 99. That is an astoundingly great collection.
Sleepy
and then he
Hollow
should have just retired.
Certainly the beginning of the end.
I like Sleepy Hollow quite a bit.
I don't dislike it, but it's problematic.
Winona Ryder was supposed to be in that movie as well, but Christina Ricci got the role because Winona Ryder's like, Johnny Depp, my ex, no thanks. So he passed on that one.
Been there, done that.
Hey, Keanu Reeves was like an ex, and they got quote unquote married in Romania during Dracula. Check out episode 4 of our podcast. And she
was it episode 4?
Episode 4. She did more movies with Keanu Reeves in the future, but not Johnny Depp. So, there's that. But yeah, once 2001 hit, the 2000s, it went downhill. Planet of the Apes remake was, I saw that in the theater. I was like, oh no. Yeah. Oh no. Mark Wahlberg, Planet of the Apes. What are we doing here?
What? There's apes.
Hey, have you guys seen some apes, guys? No. Big Fish was okay. It wasn't a horror movie, but it was an adventure-y kind of movie. Fantastical. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Corpse Bride's fine. Sweeney Todd's okay. Alice in Wonderland. Dark Shadows.
Sweeney Todd is underrated for sure.
I thought it was appropriately overrated. I didn't care for it as much. I'm assuming, Lisa, you were probably a Sweeney Todd fan. I could see being
I feel like, yeah, but I didn't watch Sweeney Todd till, well, when did it come out? Maybe I did watch it when it
2007. It came out a long time ago.
Yeah, I probably saw it when it came out.
Okay.
I like it. I think Mitch likes it more, but I like it.
Yeah.
It's got my favorite elements, horror and musicals, much like Repo, the genetic opera. Which I swear to God, Nate, if we don't watch that movie next year,
I watched it. I already watched it. I'm done. I watched it in anticipation of an episode last year. We're
gonna do a double header of Human Centipede and Repo, the genetic opera.
Yeah. So yeah, when he redoes things, Charlie and Chocolate Factory, meh. Planet of the Apes, meh.
Nope.
Sweeney Todd, I guess that was an adaptation. Alice in Wonderland, Dark Shadows, Dumbo. Ugh. Just not great. And then the announced Beetlejuice 2. That's right. We got Beetlejuice 2 coming out sometime in the future. Who knows with Corona?
For real though, because they've said that, and then it's like a fake.
It was already thing. Like announced. No, it's already announced. So I think we are. We're in it this time.
Interesting.
It's happening.
Okay.
You got Johnny Depp as the lead. I have a lot of good information from Tim Burton's commentary about how many times and what scenes Johnny Depp threw up in. So I have that information ready to go. He's in some horror films, obviously started out with The Nightmare on Elm Street. Got the weird credit in Freddy's Dead that we went over in October of this year. Johnny Depp had a weird cameo in another Freddy the Krueger movie. So he's been in a couple of those. And then all of the stuff, obviously, with Tim Burton has horror elements, Corpse Bride, stuff like that. And then obviously you got Sleepy Hollow, Mitch's favorite movie. Favorite? What do you think? Favorite Headless Horseman type movie? What do you think?
I mean, it does have Christopher Walken in it, so it's certainly up there.
There you go. Christopher Walken is so creepy in that.
Oh, he's very creepy.
Obviously, he's worked with Tim Burton on like almost double-digit films at this point. So everything. And then in Lisa's favorite Harry Potter spin-off movies, the Fantastic Beasts movies. I guess he was in a few of those. Pirates of the Caribbean. We all know Johnny Depp.
He was in one of those because
he's in two of them. He was in two of them. The Crimes of Grindelwald, and in the first one.
He was in the first one.
Okay. Yeah. He was in the first one for the last 30 seconds of the movie.
Still in it.
Well, he was in
Spoilers.
In it to win it.
Doesn't matter. Showed up, I guess. I don't know. He got paid, and that means you're in it. Yeah.
Winona Ryder, we basically went through all of her credits in the debate, so I'm going to skip her. Next, we got a Diane Wiest infection. Diane Wiest. I stole that from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yep.
Blend.
We have done both of her movies that she's done in the horror. She only has 2 horror movies we've done in both. This and Lost Boys, where she was the mom. So unless you count Birdcage as a horror movie, which some people
don't. You want to talk about me taking over the podcast again? We'll do Birdcage. That is a top 5 movie for me.
Oh, that's a top
that's
2,
high.
Lisa.
That's high for you.
Yeah,
that's
probably.
Awesome.
I quote that movie way too much.
Yeah, that's awesome. Diane Wiest, we got both of hers knocked out, no problem. You got Anthony Michael Hall in here. Anthony Michael Hall, not much of a horror guy either, although he is Tommy Doyle in the upcoming Halloween Kills movie, which should have come out this year, which will not come out next year. So he's coming back as Tommy Doyle way in the future. And so he'll be in that. He's been in some horror stuff, but nothing I really care about. He was in Freddy Got Fingered. That's a horror movie for sure. Vincent Price, the inventor character, was written for him. Tim Burton actually wrote him when he did a short film in 1982 called Vincent. He sent Vincent Price like a brochure about what the movie was. And he wrote back to him and was encouraging. And he's like, oh my God, Vincent Price encouraged me. This is fucking awesome. And obviously Tim Burton went on to be amazing gothic horror, cool person, and got Vincent Price in that role. That was his last on-screen role. His last on-screen role he ever filmed was his death in this movie. And then that was the last time he was ever on film.
Nate, you took the most awkward pause there, and I thought he filmed his own death, and I was like, how did I miss this?
He didn't film his own death, but Vincent Price was very frail when they were filming that. He actually did pass out while filming that final scene, and Tim Burton left one of the shots in. So he's not dead, but he's passed out, and that is in the film. So we got that going for us. God. Alan Arkin, not in a ton of horror films either, but we've got 2 from him too. We got this movie and 1967's Wait Until Dark. A lot younger Alan Arkin. So we've gotten 2 Alan Arkin movies in there. Maybe we'll hit up Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause at some point. Probably not. I hope not. But we've got some of the ones from him. And there's a ton of other stuff we'll talk about when we get into the movie, but great cast. Obviously, you got Danny Elfman doing the music. And there, the quote from the commentary was, he captures that weird tone that I always try to go for. And so that's why Tim Burton's like, I always work with this dude, because he's got this weird thing, and I like it. And Tim Burton's weird, and it all works. So
it does, but it's also, he has some of the most uplifting music as well. Like all the music when she's dancing in the snow and stuff is just so pretty.
Yeah.
He's very good at crossing the lines, the borders there. With
I'm gonna agree with Mitch. I mean, I love Danny Elfman's stuff in Batman Returns in the Christmas.
Oh
time.
yeah,
it was actually very good as well. Yeah. So
yeah,
this is great. The cast is great. Tim Burton in awesome form. Danny Elfman, great story. The story was, he was a teenager in Burbank, California, felt very ostracized, and actually did drawings of Edwards Scissorhands as a teenager, and had the story kind of locked in the bank for a long time. So when this came out, Tim Burton was like, I got this covered. So this is definitely a brainchild of his, and he got a little help writing it, but he had the general strokes kind of all figured out. So
yeah, I'm glad he did it.
Yeah. All right, Mitch, jump on this movie.
Do you feel like this is his, like, if you tell someone off the street, name me a Tim Burton movie, do you feel like this is it? Or do you feel like
this is my favorite? This is my favorite one. I love a lot of it, but of his movies, but this is my favorite.
Mitch is like, no. What then, Mitch?
Yeah, what's better than this?
Pee-wee's Big Adventure is better than this.
Oh, yeah, that's your number one.
Batman
Tim Burton
Returns
movie.
is better than this.
Batman is better than Batman Returns.
No, absolutely not. Batman Returns is better than the first Batman. And the first Batman is very good. So it just, you can have two great movies. Beetlejuice is better than this.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice may be the most Tim Burton movie of his. I'm honest. I mean, yeah. In terms of like the humor, everything else, I feel like Beetlejuice is more of the quintessential Tim Burton film.
It's very iconic Tim Burton too.
Frankenweenie, the original black and white short. Watched it every Halloween, Nate.
That's a short.
You probably did.
It's very good. It's very good. Not every Halloween.
You probably stopped at 5 minutes in after the dog gets run over. Like, oh, great movie.
Yeah, did it. We did it.
We did it, Tim. We did it, Timothy. It's just, man, it's just not for me.
Wow, this is very surprising. I love this.
Why is it surprising? This should not be surprising if you know me. I don't know.
It's too love story-y for Mitch, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. It's not the love story. It's just it's Frankenstein. I've seen Frankenstein.
It's Frankenstein meets Beauty and the Beast.
Without the Stockholm syndrome. Agreed.
Well, like I said, he came to her. She didn't go to him. So we don't know what would have happened if she had gotten stuck there.
Inventing things. I have a lot of questions as we watch this. So we'll get into them as we go through the plot points. I have a number of questions and plot points.
Okay.
I do want to give a quick shout out, if I may. I know this is your show, Lisa, so I have one interjection and then I'm
gonna let you finish. But Beyonce's video is one of the greatest of all time.
I'm gonna let you finish, but Batman was better.
Friend of the show, Victor, did send us a note about this. So you may be asking yourselves. Victor. Yeah, you may be asking yourselves, why is Texas Podcast Massacre reviewing this? It's not a horror film. I don't know. I almost think you can make the case that it is a horror film. And Victor at least agrees to that extent. Thinks it's more of a psychological horror film, very similar to Frankenstein. Victor says this creature who has a very little interest in life is given hope and love by this one person and then turned on and chased back, in a very similar fashion as Frankenstein. And also that, Edward is purely in that neighborhood for manual labor, which we'll get into.
Oh, I have an unpaid intern joke that is ready to go.
But I agree. I mean, this movie is effectively Frankenstein.
Yes. And it's Frankenstein in the fact that the creature is not the villain. It is the people that cannot accept him.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Very much.
I agree. So I think maybe if they had leaned a little more into that than the hokey love story angle, that would have been
the neighborhood people being terrible is like 2/3 of the movie, Mitch. I don't know what
I just didn't need that extra third of whatever was going on.
Nah, it was good. It was good.
She fell in love with his
Back
heart.
to the Future nonsense, Biff, and like the quintessential 80s like romance thing of like jerk boyfriend causes issues with sad loner dude. I don't know. I have issues with sad Freddy Krueger. Can I just say? I'll just say that I have sad Freddy Krueger doesn't do it for me. Okay,
he's not sad.
Don't you call him sad Freddy Krueger? Yeah, don't you dare compare him to Freddy Krueger.
He is mopey ass emo Freddy Krueger is what this is. Had the villagers set him on fire, boom, Freddy Krueger origin story. Same basic thing. Minus the child stuff.
Wow,
but anyway.
I could not disagree with you more, Mitch. Wow.
Yeah, you're going off the rails.
Yeah,
this you really just. Whew. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, let's go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the movie starts out. Winona Ryder's all grown up, and she has a granddaughter of her own, and she's kind of just telling the story of this man and how he affected the town. And we're sitting there watching it, and Mitch just leans over and said, "This is Hook." I'm fully expecting Edward to just come in, fall in love with the granddaughter.
I know. The bedroom looked like the one that's
right there.
That they filmed Hook in.
The granddaughter would probably go up there. It sounded like she was like, "Why don't you go?"
That's what. Yeah. I can see now. I mean, I haven't seen it in a while. I could totally see her like at the end of the movie being like curious and wandering up there or whatever. Like when you see a flash forward.
I love it's like, back in my day, we had a man with scissor hands. Like this is essentially how
the whole old the appliances, everything put on her for the makeup. It's just it is over the top. Like, and
they didn't like his hands.
My grandmother never sounded like that. I don't know an old person that sounds like that.
I know, it's so good.
I totally agree with you guys. I thought it was really
it's like
good.
when Adam Sandler does his little old people. It's like from the Adam Sandler school.
Okay, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't.
This is why you got to keep me. Yeah, this is why I have the host.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do with myself.
You're just ruining a classic film. You're just ruining it totally.
Completely.
One of the things
it would be more of a horror movie if Adam Sandler did show up as
one of the things I have to mention in the beginning is that Winona Ryder's character is now an elderly woman, and the story is supposed to be, the takeaway is that it's true. Would be the way I would phrase it. And
great analysis.
She stayed in the same town the entire time and didn't want to leave that town after her boyfriend got murdered and all kinds of stuff. She's like, I'm just gonna stay here. This is.
Some people just can't make it out of their small towns.
My friend still got that van. We can go camping in the same place we do in the beginning of the film. My dad likes his bowling. I was going to hang out.
My bushes somehow mysteriously get, trimmed every once in a while.
Yep. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, she never left that town, which I always thought was strange.
When you find a good hairstylist, it's hard to get
You don't leave.
You don't leave that person. Totally. They understand. Yeah. It's important.
Hashtag pandemic problems.
Yeah, totally. That's how I live my life is where.
Speaking of pandemic problems, how much are Avon saleswomen suffering right now?
Probably a lot.
Sponsor Avon sales lady right now. Don't invite them over because, pandemic. But I don't know, maybe buy a blush or something. Help them out.
Hashtag buy a blush. All right.
Peg's endless quest during this entire movie to find the right makeup for Edward. I adore that storyline. Love it. Getting so far that she gets to talk to the CEO of Avon to get tips. It's amazing.
This is the pastiest, most artificial skin that has ever existed. I need to go right to the top of the food chain of Avon to figure this shit out. It's fantastic.
The lavender turning him purple. It's just an iconic moment for me.
It's so good. She's trying her best. She takes him in. That was apparently the writer, Carolyn Thompson on the film. Her mom actually did that with a bunch of people, would take in people.
Really?
So that's kind of where that part of that came from. Yeah. And the neighborhood. Oh, no, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the neighborhood for me is its own character because of how ridiculous it is. This is based on Burbank, California, where Tim Burton grew up. It was filmed in Florida. So not only did Johnny Depp have the darkest leather latexy clothes of all time and no way to cool it. He could have had a cooling apparatus, but he didn't want it. He wanted to be in the character with these
oh my God,
all this makeup on and then the hair and all the hands and stuff. He ended up passing out multiple times while filming the film, but they're in Florida.
Of course he did.
They basically rented out a neighborhood like and rented out people's houses and like repainted them. That's why it looks so ridiculous. That wasn't the real paint job of that neighborhood. But then some of the people, when they went back, they had to repaint it back to the old color and then take out the topiaries or whatever. And then some people kept
I would have kept them.
I would have kept it too. I thought it'd be amazing. It's already done. It's easier to not move it. But this is in like east of Tampa. And in the very beginning, this is a deep cut of information. But in the very beginning, Lisa, when they're driving through the neighborhood and one of the kids goes over the slip and slide, right?
Yeah.
In the very beginning, that's Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys. So,
no.
There you go. Yes.
Oh, Mitch, we got to rewatch it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that.
All right. Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
See, Nate, that's why I got to borrow the DVD. I got to borrow the DVD.
Yeah. It actually wasn't on that. I found that somewhere else, but awesome. So there you go. So there you go, Mitch. Looks like you're watching it again. Suck it.
Gift that keeps on.
Yeah, the gift that keeps on giving. And then one of the things I wanted to mention is that Edward only says 169 words in the entire film. So not a very dialogue heavy, obviously, turn from Johnny Depp. But he uses his face, the scenarios. It's written so well that he doesn't have to say a lot. It's I like how Freddy Krueger. I don't want to keep bringing up Freddy Krueger and Edward Scissorhands to placate Mitch here, but Freddy Krueger's in like 7 minutes of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, right? This is like 169 words. It's like you do a lot with less with these kind of characters.
Yeah. So Peg has more courage than I. Goes up to this creepy ass mansion, which this is how you get the Beauty and the Beast aspect in there too. How have people just ignore this mansion on the hill for so dang long, like they ignore the castle?
Well, she's so bored. No one is buying from her.
She's like, maybe I'll get a customer up here. Why not?
Yeah,
I haven't been here before, so takes him home. So let's just talk a little bit about her family. Alan Arkin, her husband, the most dopey, PC husband there is.
Yeah.
Cracked me up most of the movie because he just everything just goes right past him.
Yeah, it's like some weird indifference.
Alan
Arkin, so strange. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, Alan Arkin is either. I told Lisa he's either just totally mailing this in, like.
No, I think
this is like the most perfect portrayal. I guess he won. I didn't realize he won an Academy Award for this movie. So, yeah, incredible. He is absolutely a highlight for.
Wait, Alan Arkin won an Academy Award.
I thought I saw that. Did I misread that?
I think you might have misread that.
It's very possible.
An Oscar?
The film cast. Oh no, that they just won 2 Oscars. Sorry.
That's okay. I was like, wait, hold on. And I just failed at all of my duties here.
Sorry, that's my bad. I can't read.
Okay,
but the point. But yeah, it feels like he's just totally mailing this in, and it's a testament to how well he plays it, because like nothing phases this dude. Nothing perturbs him. He's not worried that my wife just brought random creepy dude in a full latex bodysuit into my house. No questions asked. I feel like, Lisa, if you brought someone into our house in full latex suit, I might have a question or two.
With scissor hands?
Right. I might have a couple questions.
Just a few.
So, Mitch, you ruined one of my trivia things inadvertently. This movie did win an Oscar. But was nominated for an Oscar, didn't win an Oscar.
Yeah.
For Best Makeup. They got
Not
Stan
surprised.
Winston, who had done Terminator and Aliens, agreed to work on the film only because Rick Baker, the famous Rick Baker, was busy doing another movie called Gremlins 2: The New Batch. That's right. Recent episode, Gremlins 2, took away the makeup effects guy, but still got nominated for an Oscar anyway. So
I think you made the right choice.
What don't the Gremlins ruin is really the main.
Gremlins 2 is a national treasure, and I won't hear you besmirch it again.
Yes.
So the most impressive thing to me about this costume of his is how he still has control of these scissors, of these blades.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, maybe you got this from the director's commentary, that he's, when he's cutting something, when he's cutting through the butter, he's actually controlling the scissors.
Yeah, his hands were bound. Yes. Yeah, his hands were bound.
Yeah.
It was for real. Yeah.
That's so impressive. And his little like tick, as he's walking, he kind of like, he's so nervous that he's like, most folks I don't know what to do with my hands, and he's just got these blades. So
yeah, Johnny Depp does such a very good job in this. It's amazing. When he pops the waterbed is one of the funniest things of all time.
I love that scene.
They get 2 jokes out of it. It's so good. They do it twice. Perfect. Mitch is just
great
inside, but it's amazing. I thought it was very good. Tim Burton in the commentary in this kept like describing, for him, he lived in this like really bland neighborhood. That's where he came up with this whole kind of story. Mm-hmm. He describes everything in this neighborhood as scary, like in one time or another. He's like, oh, Alan Arkin was just scary in this. Like he just nailed it so much. It was like creeping me out. Like he's talking about everyone in the neighborhood and how they're got and all this stuff. And he is like genuinely creeped out by it. And you can see kind of where the story came from when you hear him talk about it. 'Cause he's still, years later, just like, ugh, that whole vibe I don't care for.
Because to him, he wasn't the weird one, right? It was this little prim and proper neighborhood that was odd. So that's so interesting. Yeah, Lisa, so let's talk a little bit about the neighborhood, because
I have a question. What are these colors?
Okay, go ahead.
No, well, what are these? What do you think about these colors in this neighborhood? I have to ask you.
These pastel colors.
These colors and the interiors. What do you?
I'm not gonna lie. One of my favorite scenes from this movie is seeing all the husbands leave in the morning and synchronously pull out of their driveways to go to work.
Except for that one husband that screwed it all up and was late and held up everyone.
Yeah, he really messed up the chain, but it really cemented the whole, this is a neighborhood that it has its exact timeline. Everyone leaves at the same time, gets home at the same time, has dinner at the table with their family, and in walks this guy that's just totally out of the ordinary to them. And then you got them gossiping on the street, which they're so bored. They're like, yeah, of course I'm going to go stand on the street corner and wonder who Peg brought home. The neighborhood is a very interesting dynamic.
Yeah, in the beginning, you're like, is this taking place in the 1950s? But then they're talking about like DVD players and CD players and Anthony Michael Hall's parents and all this technology. So it's not, but it easily could have been.
Yeah, it feels like a neighborhood stuck in time.
Yeah, which is
creepy. And maybe I don't know when Burton was born. Do you know?
I can tell you exactly when he was born. He was born in 1958.
Well, okay. So he caught the tail end of the 50s. Not that he remembers it. But.
He's like a baby writing down notes like, I hate this. All right, got it.
So let's get into this whole unpaid intern. So, Edward's here. He's just starting to fit in. He realizes that, he can actually put his talents to good use. People would love to have their topiaries, shaved and their hair cut and, their dogs be stylized. So what did y'all think about this? I mean, I feel like he should have been charging money at some point for some of this. There's a lot of things that Alan Arkin kind of didn't get right, but that's the one thing I was like, yeah, come on. You're going to do all this work. You got to get paid.
When that dog, when the poodle like first got cut, I mean, what a great does the dog die scene would that have been? Like, man, what a miss. If that could be the one thing that Tim Burton missed, that could have been amazing. Like, first one, yikes. He was moving a little bit. Second one, then he keeps nailing.
Oops.
I mean, what business would this be? This is a lawn sculpture / hair cutting / dog cutting business.
It's called
the
it's just trimming. That's all it is. Whatever you got, we'll trim it.
Trimming. The problem is he can't contract out to anybody because he's got to do all the work.
Yeah, he's got to do all the work. But the plus side is he's real good. So you should be able to charge a good amount for that. Those hairstyles were freaking awesome.
My other favorite,
like the 3 little squigs. Didn't care for that one, but everything else.
And there's another one that's like a box head, which is great.
I thought that was fantastic.
But one of my favorite running gags in this movie is Peg keeps letting him cut her hair to make him feel better. And so her haircut just gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And smaller until the very end of the movie. She's like got it almost completely buzzed off. I thought that was really clever.
She was so great in this movie.
She's fantastic. She's really great in this
Tim Burton
movie.
called her a fantasy Avon lady guardian angel. She's basically just nailing it. It's so good.
Yeah.
The scene there he did throw up is they had to do where they're all like sexually feeding him food and that like.
Oh God, I can't imagine.
20 takes and he ate the food every time in that suit in Florida.
Why?
Woo! And that was some like chunky ass food too.
Why did they have to do 20 takes?
I don't know. They didn't get it right. And Johnny Depp's like, if you mess up the line and it's not me,
I'm going to literally stab you.
I might literally stab you with these knife hands. Like for real. Like this is ridiculous. So the other time he threw up is when they did he runs away at the end toward the castle, back toward the mansion. And apparently
he couldn't breathe.
He couldn't breathe and he ran so hard. And he's like, we did it 6 times. And the 6th time he never came back because he was just throwing up in the bushes or something.
He's like, fuck this.
Poor Johnny
We're
Depp
using that take. We're done.
Yeah, we're using it. Yeah. So.
Oh my God.
I got to say though, the show and tell that this kid gets to do with Edwards Scissorhands is something.
Oh, I love that.
A+ work on that. I mean, pretty great.
This to me, there's just so many iconic scenes in this entire movie. It's fantastic.
It's all iconic. I think it's all classic.
It is. It is.
It doesn't really lull in the middle. The middle is still interesting. It all works.
Even him, Kim coming home and getting freaked out by him in her bed, which totally understandable. And him just shuffling down the hall and Alan Arkin having to turn around and be like, no, go this way. Him drinking with Alan Arkin, saying it's lemonade and then having the lemonade. Yeah. I was surprised at how many details I remembered, but I remembered a lot. So
yeah, it's economically done. There's not a lot of fluff in this. There's a lot of kind of gags and things, but they're all pretty funny. So there's not a lot of throwaway there. So I was going to say, let's get into who you guys think is the true villain in this movie. Cause for me, it's a bit of a toss up. Oh, okay.
So we have Jim, Kim's boyfriend, Jim.
AMH, Anthony Michael Hall.
Who's a complete jerk to her.
He has always been, in the 80s, he was the
quintessential
dweeby.
Jerk.
He was the dweeby.
Oh, yeah.
Kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Weird Science, Breakfast Club. He's like the scrawny, whatever. And then he just gets jacked for this one. He's like, I'm flipping this. I'm flipping this around. I'm going to get like buff. I'm going to be like 24 playing like an 18-year-old, just like beefy.
Yeah.
It's like, dang. Total flip the script on that. He's terrible.
So for me, it's a toss up between him and Joyce.
Yes. Those are the
Joyce
twin
is the worst.
Villains. Yes. They're both terrible villains.
So but if you had to pick one name, who would you pick?
Jim's more obvious. Jim grabs a gun at the end, just probably, but the more insidious is Joyce. There's like an overt and a subtle villain, and those.
Joyce probably does the most damage, right?
Probably. Right. Because she's the most influential voice in the neighborhood, right? Everyone goes to her for gossip and all that sort of stuff. So she kind of does the reputation damage more, I would say.
Yeah. Brutal.
Jim just gets him in a hell of a lot of trouble. And I will say inadvertently, Jim did get him some protection from the cops because there's that one cop that feels bad for him and is pretty sure he's just this innocent kid. They got roped into something bad and ends up saving him in the end of the movie. So well, saving him. We'll get into that. But.
Let's get into the existential question of what is Johnny Depp in this? Like, what is this character? It's not a robot.
Is
right?
he though?
It's not a robot, I don't think.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
not
hard.
like an android. It's like a human. It's human-ish.
Ish.
Right? What do you call this? I have no idea what. Right? Because it's not.
And it's weird. But the
definitely
weird thing is,
human. Definitely part human. Cyborg?
At one point, he exists as just a torso. It's just Vincent Price talking to his torso. So I don't know. That's a very good question. One that I haven't figured out.
So based on my Google, it's homunculus. Might be the closest thing.
A homunculus. And that is
a humanoid creature. I don't know.
Is that what the Jujul says?
I don't know.
You Jujul it?
An artificial humanoid thing of some kind. Homunculus. Yeah, he's a homunculus. There we go. Rolls off the tongue.
There's an innocent answer, and then there's the more realistic answer. He was going to be a real doll. Let's be real. He was going to be a Robert Smith, The Cure real doll. Why is he in full leather straps? Why is... Yeah,
to be fair, did you see the aesthetic of the rest of the mansion? It does fit very well thematically, outfit wise.
It's still weird. I'm not seeing
the hair was based on the lead singer of The Cure. So.
Well, absolutely. I mean,
absolutely.
He absolutely
so is Tim Burton's. Tim Burton's hair is that in real life also. So
right.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. There's no other rationale for why he wanted to make this person into a human other than not great things.
Well, he makes one to have a companion.
Yeah. Yes, he does, Nate.
Yeah. A platonic companion.
Oh, I don't know about the platonic.
He's got other creepy Goldberg machines to do other stuff. It sounds like this inventor could handle that in different ways. Anyway, let's get back to this.
The real question I want to ask is, Joy. I mean, so when Joyce was being very gross and sexually molesting him,
he cannot consent. There's no consent with this guy. He's not.
Well, I mean, presumably she would have found nothing there to mess with.
Yeah,
and then the question, but then because then that leads to the next question. If she did, why does he have that first and the hand second? Why did we prioritize that?
we need to do more homunculus research to see if do they have things. It's all
because the order of which he gets certain anatomical parts is important, I think, to this origin story because really he can get real dark real quick, Nate.
Well, he can make out. He's got a mouth. He's got a tongue. He speaks. He can make out with somebody, right? So like that's a baseline. He can definitely make out with somebody. No. So we got that.
Mitch, don't derail the conversation just because I'm leaving the podcast tonight.
No, this is a legitimate question. I think the people need to know.
I don't know. I mean, he clearly is a fan of sexy smock modeling.
I just
he was like he wasn't really like saying like no. It's like you're really modeling the hell out of these smocks.
My problem with this movie is that I love Vincent Price, but he is a shit inventor. Why? This is why Agile sucks. Okay, why is he like? This is the worst MVP of a product I've ever seen.
What is happening right now?
Why are the hands like the last thing he builds? No, let me give you these like monster knives to work with until I can figure out the hands. He's worked everything out. The hands were like the last thing.
Yeah, he's bad with hands.
Okay,
like some people can't draw hands well. You know, he's like, I gotta put it in.
And when they're doing the assembly line, Do you see a single thing that actually has hands? No. He actually has a robot that has the scissors chopping up the lettuce.
He's iterating.
So he knows he's done that already and he knows it works. So that's phase 1.
He just scaled the size and it was exact same measurements, super fast. And then he's like, I'll get back to it later. But I'm also 90.
I'm just questioning why the hands were such a low priority compared to everything else he had to do.
Plus, we don't know what his original intention was for Edward. It could have just been a companion that chops lettuce. Okay,
maybe
cool.
he's like, look, I don't want to cry when I have onions. And then boom, Edwards Scissorhands, done.
And then he felt bad for him later. He's like, he's been such a great, sous chef. I should probably give him hands.
Exactly. That's what I think it was. I think he was trying to teach him things and things like that. After a while, he was initially just like, all right, well, I have this whole Rube Goldberg machines with these creepy faces that look like near automata, which is a great video game that everyone should play. It's a really good, creepy Japanese one. But he started feeling bad for him. And then he started trying to teach him the etiquette and all the other, and poetry and all that kind of stuff. And then he decided to make him hands. I think that's what happened. I agree with Lisa on this one.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm just very.
He was a human slap chop to start. That was the start of it. Look, I need a slap chop. All right,
all I'm saying is, when it comes to Rube Goldberg inventors, Pee Wee Herman's automatic breakfast, much better invention than anything Vincent Price does in this movie.
Well, he made a breakfast too. What do you mean?
I'm just saying Pee Wee's a better inventor.
Pee Wee's a better. I don't know about that. I
think it's canon.
Which was first? Pee Wee was first.
Pee Wee was first.
So he probably used Pee Wee's as inspiration for this. Then.
Now I've got the Pee Wee music playing in my head.
Yeah,
of course you do.
That's my happy place.
But yeah, as soon as Joyce though tries to sex up on Edward and he runs out.
She's clearly.
Then it's all downhill.
They're all the whole village is the villain, right? I mean,
yeah.
They because again Frankenstein.
Yeah.
They use him. They use him when they like him. They like what makes him unique and different when it benefits them until they see him as a threat. The minute they see him as a threat, he's a monster. That's,
even though it's not his fault at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And nothing's really changed. He's neither or really, but they're cruel in how they abuse him and they're using him and giving him that feeling of being wanted when they're just, again, he's just a tool to them. And then similarly, when they're chasing him down, the cop, I want to say, I mean, props to the cop for trying to be like, oh yeah, he dead. Maybe don't just leave. Maybe just tape it off. like don't just maybe shoot in the air. I mean, shot in the air, but
this is some of the most compassionate police work I've ever seen in a movie. So
I feel like he could have just done a little bit more. I'll just leave the scene and figure that'll work itself out.
Yeah, that was a little much. But what's nice is that the cop gave him time, which then led to Edward not being taken over by them or be lynched by the mob, which the whole neighborhood, all the characters and their kind of surface interactions and kind of craven, motivations is the true villain. And then there are standouts in there, but yeah, they are just the straight up mob with the torches, from Frankenstein. Tim Burton mentioned it as well in the commentary. He's like, they're just a mob and they're terrible. Which is, again, they're the villains. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know. He gets framed for a break-in at Anthony Michael Hall's own parents' house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's brutal. Winona Ryder left him. I mean, man, and then the scenes where he's scratching the shit out of their house is just so brutal. You feel so bad for him. I mean, Mitch, this didn't tug at your heartstrings at all? No, come on. You didn't feel bad when he got left there all by himself in that alarm room and he couldn't open the door because his hands are.
Oh, I mean, sure. I felt bad for him, but
Wow. Heartless. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Maybe Vincent Price should have made a machine to get you a heart instead of a heart cookie. Man. Wow.
So let's we're almost there. Let's talk about this ending. So all hell, everything's going to hell. Edward just can't take it anymore and goes on a mini rampage. I mean,
spree.
He causes very superficial damage, right? He doesn't, he cuts the leg off of a ballerina.
He scratches a kid's face pretty nicely, but it was okay, I guess.
In a very stop hitting yourself sort of motion, which was really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. So he goes back, he talks to Kim. Then Jim is driving around drunk and he realizes he's going to hit Kevin. So Edward pushes Kevin out of the way and ends up inadvertently cutting him and looking like he's attacking him. And that's kind of what pushes the whole town to say, to ostracize him and say, get out of here. So he runs back to the mansion. He's got the showdown there with Jim, with Kim standing by. What did y'all think about that whole fight scene? Because up until the very end, it looks like Edward just doesn't want to hurt anybody, not even Jim. I think it's the snapping point is when he thinks that Jim's going to hurt Kim. And then he's like, you know what? That's it. I can't take it anymore.
The reason why it might not be a horror film is because horror films, usually the teens die because, and I agree with this film a lot more. Teens die in other horror films because they drink or have sex or whatever, which I think is so stupid. You know what? Teens are going to die in a fucking movie. This Jim guy is the prime candidate. I say kill him.
Oh my gosh.
Boom. Deserved it. If teens are going to die in some of these types of movies, I mean, look, you gave this guy 100 chances and you're going to get stabbed if you're threatening Winona Ryder right in front of him.
He got Gastoned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There's like a nice little, it was like an unblocked, just straight sword thrust, just right in.
But hey, look, I know you roll your eyes when I say sad Freddy Krueger, but he gets him with the straight like Freddy Krueger stab that like she does in Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. It's that underhanded just shank, like.
Yeah, it was great.
But it's not even that. It's a shank and shove all the way through the window.
Yeah.
Shank shove.
Like,
Shank
I'm going to finish the job.
Trademarked.
There's none of this. There's
shank shove slam.
So here's where it's different. Here's where it's different from Gaston. Okay, the Beast has him, and then he's like, I'm going to let you go because I'm not that kind of person. And then Gaston is the one that inevitably causes his fall. This time, Edward's like, no, just
no,
you're done.
I'm ending this.
I'm not fake hurting you.
Edward finally embraced the teachings of Cobra Kai. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Fear does not exist in this bell tower.
Or it's, hey, don't beat the shit out of this person I love, or I will stab you.
Yeah, that's probably in there somewhere too. There's probably more rules in the 3 of Cobra Kai.
I haven't watched the Cobra Kai TV show.
I haven't gotten through the 2nd season, so maybe it's in there too. So just first season though, I mean, it's still plots.
But yeah, I mean, when he dies, I think Tim Burton talked about it in the commentary. He's like, yeah, we didn't have to focus test this. Like that wasn't a thing back then, but I'm assuming people would have not liked that. But I thought it was fantastic because he defended her. That guy was gonna kill him and had shot at him already multiple times with a gun.
Yeah.
So I mean, clearly self-defense. He was retreating and then got shot at in a home invasion, essentially. And then
Kim
himself.
in a very smart move grabs that extra arm so that they don't go in.
Way
and
to have an
Edward.
extra glove just hanging around.
You know what? These people are so gossipy. These people are so gossipy. But when real shit hits the fan, they're like, we're not going to go check.
We're good.
Just go walk in this house and just check. Nah, that's too
Murdered
much.
Boy. We'll just leave him here.
We have enough stories for 5 years. So we're good. We don't need to do any follow up on this. It's fine.
Yeah.
And the cop is just like, didn't. I mean, what does that cop say? He shoots a bunch of shots in the air and you're like, did you kill him? Like, first of all, he didn't do anything deserving to be killed. So
don't worry about it.
And he goes, don't worry about it. And then another kid dies after. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, that's the one that's going to get him called into the.
That's not great. No, that could be.
Yeah.
That could be bad.
He's getting called into the chief.
Doesn't sound like Anthony Michael Hall's parents will be too distraught about their kid dying. But other than that, Not great. So the policeman maybe is not out of the woods on this one. He might be getting fired on that one. But yeah, the ending, I liked it. What do you think, Lisa? I thought.
I think it's great.
It. Yeah,
I think the whole thing is great.
It's like the classic. Yeah, it's not.
We
all
didn't
happy.
touch on it totally, but her dancing. That scene where she's dancing outside underneath the ice sculpture. Which, okay, you want to talk about real questions? Where was he getting this ice?
Yeah, does he have a fucking supplier deal for ice blocks? Like, where did it come from?
There is a 100-part machine that creates ice somewhere in the mansion.
And then he's got these ice blocks hanging out. Yeah, does he have just some guy just loading from a truck? Like, where you want these ice blocks?
Vincent Price paid for a lifetime of ice blocks, and then no one's there. They already prepaid, and then Edward comes out and starts cutting them. Maybe that's it.
Maybe Vincent Price should have invented an ice maker,
or maybe he makes those, or some sort of liquefaction of some kind of things that happen. Who knows? Rainwater collected goes into there. I don't know. One of the things I did want to mention is this like hill or whatever mountain is so fake looking compared to the other parts of the area. I mean, where is this topography exist anywhere on Earth? That was a little ridiculous, but it's a fairy tale type story, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not 100%. And then the ending is like this old school fairy tales where it's like kind of tragic and kind of, bittersweet and not all happy, but Edward's still out there hanging out all by himself for decades, having known love.
Why is that bittersweet? That's just bitter. It's nothing good about that, isn't it?
Well, he didn't die. Edward didn't die.
He gets to live in solitude forever because he's not a fucking real person.
He can live with his memories.
He gets to live with his memories and give these people free snow that they don't deserve for forever.
Free snow.
But that's all. He's just sitting up there just carving up ice blocks for I guess for her, but
being down there unlocked his creative streak.
She's had a whole damn family without him.
Maybe he found someone else. Maybe someone else went up there. He found them.
They did. He's still pining away for her. She's clearly moved on.
He has an Etsy store.
They need to make a sequel. How Edward got his groove back, Nate.
I think someone else went up there. I think he got a girlfriend eventually.
He changed his name to Eddie.
Fast Eddie. That's what you see that run? Fast Eddie.
I see it.
You make me die on this one.
We lost Nate.
Yep.
All right. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the final cut.
Final cut.
Mitch, I want to end this episode on a high note, so you go first.
Fair. Look, as it comes for horror movies, it's not good. As it comes for regular movies, it's also okay.
What? Oh my god! My god!
There's better. Look, if you like the love story, watch Beauty and the Beast. If you like the angry mob turns of people, watch Frankenstein. If you're just lazy and can't watch two movies in the same sitting, then this will do, I guess. That's basically what this is. It's someone
dang.
It's just not. I don't know. It's kind of boring. Not really anything happens. You say it's like a feel good movie. It's not. Nothing good happens to this poor kid. It's like
it's exactly how I feel about Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Hey, he gets his bike back at the end. He gets the girl. He has a movie made for him. I think Pee-wee comes out way ahead than Sad Sack living alone in a castle making snow for ungrateful assholes. No, I think
that's what you were doing before I met you.
Yes, and I'm ahead now. So clearly he needs to take a lesson from me. Stop pining over Winona Ryder. Go after,
I don't think he is pining for. I think he expanded his horizons, having interacted with everyone.
He made a fucking ice sculpture of her. He's pining for her.
That was early. That's early on.
Nate.
That was part of moving on.
No, it's not. Ice melts.
Yeah.
Ice melts. He's doing these every year. There's no way that shit stayed for 40 years or however long it's been.
Okay,
that's his practice.
So what are you giving it?
That's his practice thing that he does when he gets to the next ones.
So what are you giving it, Mitch?
It's like his warm up song.
YouTube fans will appreciate this. I don't know how to say. I give it. Did I give Santa Jaws 4 out of 10?
You gave it 4 out of 10. If you give this the same as Santa Jaws.
I'm not giving it the same as Santa Jaws. It's better than Santa Jaws. I will give this movie 6 out of 10 floppy rubber arms. Because that's what it's going to look like. Those things had no bones, no mechanical structure in them. What was he going to do with those hands?
He was going to make the innards.
Oh my God.
He was showing him what his hands would look like.
Cool, here's what your useless hands are working on. I'm taking my sweet ass time doing this. Let's go back to etiquette lessons so you can learn how to hold the right fucking fork. Are you kidding me?
You gotta learn how to hold the fork before you get the hands. You gotta crawl before.
Why
you
he can't
run.
practice it, Nate? What's the point of telling him when you can't practice? How
Sometimes
well do you learn shit when you
first.
can't do hands-on stuff? You can't.
Knives on. I work better with knives on training.
Oh, of course. I mean, because you learn how to play. You learn how to play guitar before you actually have one, right? Like, you just tell you how to play it, and that's how you learned it.
Yeah. Just like exactly.
It's making me angry. I'm about to drop my score, so move on.
All right, Nate. What
10
are you giving it?
out of 10. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's
absurd.
Great. Mitch is terrible.
Absurd.
It's
There's
real
someone
good.
here to mute Mitch, right?
It's real good. It's the story is great. The aesthetic of Tim Burton, I love. Early Tim Burton aesthetic is just spectacular.
For a movie about being different and being weird, you certainly like to take the populist answer for this one. So sure. Way to conform to the rest of everyone.
Look, so when it's good, it's good. It's universal, which is this movie. It's great. This is the #1 Tim Burton movie on IMDb ratings. So I just want to throw that out there for you, Mitch. But no, it's a beloved movie for
Santa Jaws has like a 6 point something on IMDb. I don't know if you
No, it doesn't.
It does now.
It's got classic themes. It works now. It worked when it came out. 30 years. It really resonates with the same. It isn't dated by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe the paint jobs and like the 50s kind of references are, but everyone knows exactly what that means now. So I think it holds up really well to now. Johnny Depp's awesome. Tim Burton was perfect-ish around there for me anyway. Winona Ryder was solid. And he said he will never make a sequel to that because he thought it ended perfectly. And I agree. So 10 out of 10.
God.
10 out of 10. It's so good.
I'm just being mean. Just be mean now.
You don't need a sequel. It's perfect. Just like Santa Jaws. You can't make a second one. What's the point?
I agree. 10 out of 10. Would watch again. We'll watch again.
We'll watch
deal with
again.
it, Mitchell, because it's happening.
You're getting a Blu-ray. You're getting a Blu-ray.
This used to be a yearly tradition of mine, and I'm going to bring that back for sure. So
make him watch the movie, then make him watch the Tim Burton commentary, then make him watch the Danny Elfman commentary. This is at least 3 watch throughs minimum.
So happening.
Yeah,
it really is.
Sounds like it. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. So yeah, just amazing soundtrack, Danny Elfman, amazing story, just classic. I loved it as a kid. I still love it now. You can't say anything that'll change my mind. So with that, Nate, where can they find us?
You can
to
find
either
us,
completely agree with us.
You can find us and Lisa and I's amazing opinions at TX Podmaster on Twitter, Texas Podcast Massacre on Facebook and Instagram. We're on all your podcast platforms. We have a couple more episodes coming up in December. Nothing is quite as good as Edwards Scissorhands. We have Santa's Sleigh coming up. Not close,
Phil Goldberg, not quite the same.
Goldberg, not quite as good with his hands as Edwards Scissorhands, but he'll be murdering some people as a demonic Santa in next week's episode. And then we will be having our year-end episode in 2020. Again, check out all those Shudder movies. Not a lot of horror films in the theater this year, obviously, but tons on streaming services. And we all have little Carries and Danny Torrances and Damien's. And I think that Edwards Scissorhands is a great movie around the Christmas season to watch with your kids. So we don't get to recommend watch this movie with your kids very often, but I think we finally can. Yay. Definitely share this with the little ones and or the Grinches in your life, like Mitch.
For sure. So with that, thank you all for listening, and just keep telling yourself this is definitely the best movie we've ever done. Good night.